Last one. The CO2 tolerance test. I will explain in a second why this would be rather useful for you to do on a regular basis, but also why things like SOMA breath in particular are really good methods and tools to help improve your ability, your tolerance to deal with higher levels of CO2. Now, before we get to the test, you probably know, if you've been following my journey, a little bit about CO2. CO2, for example, is the signal that tells your brain when to breathe. Now, interestingly, that signal changes, of course, according to your metabolic needs. So whenever you're running, it's different. It's a different signal to whenever you're eating. Whenever you're sleeping, it's a different signal to whenever you're stressed. Now, herein lies the really interesting bit when it comes to stress. Your body and brain's interpretation of that stress also determines the nature of the CO2 signal. So the better able you are to deal with higher levels of CO2 in your body is linked to your ability to deal with higher levels of stress. And if you've been following my journey, you'll know that I've been through high levels of stress, certainly last year in particular. And it was only really thanks to breathwork in particular that I was better able to deal with those higher levels of stress. Breathing really is key. I mean, you must know this already from my channel. I do bang on about it a lot. But it's amazing, isn't it, how much when you get control of the breath, how many more benefits you gain from doing so. So for this test, all you need is a timing device, a watch will do, and you're going to be breathing 3 times through the nose. So inhale all the way and then exhale all the way. On the final inhale, so the 4th inhale, inhale all the way through the nose, hit your timer, and then exhale as slowly as you possibly can. Now, as a slight aside, there are other ways of testing your tolerance to CO2, such as an inhale breath hold, for example. But there's less skill involved in holding your breath than there is doing a nasal exhalation very slowly. And actually, with the SOMA breath group in their Facebook group, a few months ago, we did a really interesting OM test, which is exactly the same. What you do is you inhale and then you exhale doing the sound of OM, the R-O-M, and you go as long as you possibly can. And that length of time is an indicator as to your tolerance level of CO2. Now, at the end of the test, I'll then give you the various timings that will tell you straight away your current ability to dealing with the CO2 level in your body. Obviously, the longer you go, the more tolerant you are. So here we go. 3 deep inhales through the nose, followed by the 4th one in all the way through the nose, and then exhale through the nose very, very slowly as long as you possibly can, hitting the timer at the point of your exhalation. So, remember belly breath, so you start the inhale off from the root, from the belly. Last one. Okay, so how did that feel? No doubt you probably feel pretty good, simply because any kind of breath work tends to leave you with a heightened sensation afterwards. Now, if you are in the sort of, well, certainly 40 to 60 range, you're doing very well. You've got a high tolerance already to increased levels of CO2. You probably already have certainly at least some capacity to dealing with levels of stress, be they heightened or otherwise. If you're in the 20-second below range, don't worry, first of all. You can very easily start working your way up that tolerance level. But I will state now, this is probably an indicator. It's probably a wake-up call in that use this as your marker for changing your life, because right now I would imagine you're probably either going through poo or you're dealing with higher levels of stress on a regular basis, and you're probably not dealing with it as well as you could. So do turn to breathwork. It's a simple tool, it really will help, and it will very quickly change your state. And it really will improve your ability to deal with heightened levels of stress. As I said, the better you are able to deal with higher levels of CO2, coincidentally, you are also better able to deal with higher levels of stress. So what that means is, don't just keep doing this test every day. It's a helpful test to assess where you are, but do start practicing various forms of kumbhaka, or breath holds, breath retentions. So I'm dropping links below for SOMA breath, because I have to say, of all the ones I've practiced, this is the one, and I'm biased because I'm an instructor, but this is the one I highly recommend. There's a free course, so that really gives you a great gateway into this. There's, after that, the 21-day awakening, and as the name suggests, it does wake you up. And then if you're really interested, like I am, in the physiology and your makeup and what's going on, and also various tools that you can pass on to others, even if you don't want to be an instructor, I highly recommend that instructor course. There's so much value in this. Now, actually, if you're a yoga instructor, I really do recommend that course. Doubtless, if you're a good yoga instructor, in other words, somebody that doesn't just focus on stretches, then hopefully you're also aware of the benefits of breathing. And doubtless you've already got some knowledge of it. But having this extra tool, as it were, to pass on to your clients will prove invaluable. They really will thank you for it. And it will also add as another revenue stream, because a lot of the stuff that you can do, of course, with the SOMA breath is online. So right now, if you're holding yoga sessions online, chuck this in and your clients will have a whole new session and will gain immeasurably. Let's go. Come on. So promo over. Let's just get back then lastly to the CO2, the benefits of increased tolerance to the higher levels of CO2. If you are already into exercise, by improving your ability to deal with higher levels of CO2, you will see a marked difference in your fitness level. Think here high altitude training, because it's very similar. If you are somebody that suffers from anxiety and stress, you really will benefit from improving your ability to deal with these high levels of CO2. And likewise, if you want to improve your mood generally, you will definitely feel a lot more positive, you will feel a lot more alive. So, there we are. I think I've covered it all. Thank you for watching. Evolution of Dave, signing off. Bye for now.